This is Amanda, Heather, and you're listening to Semi-Woo.
And we've got two awesome women in the studio today. They're both, we kept saying yogatinis. I don't know if that's a word, but we've got Annie Evasick and SarahRose Bernhardt. Welcome, ladies.
Yeah,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
We'll have you guys introduce yourselves. Annie, if you want to go ahead.
Hello, my name is Annie Evasick. I am the owner and creator of Yo-Yo Yoga Project. It's basically a Seattle-based collective advocating and promoting health within the music industry. So think electronic music, live music shows, music festivals. We go and we do pre-yoga show with
Cool.
live music.
Love it.
Yeah.
Warm the crowd up.
Yep, exactly.
Nice. Cool.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm SarahRose Bernhardt. Oh man, I do a lot of stuff. Let's see.
Yeah,
I am.
you can name it all.
I'm co-owner of the Grinning Yogi. We have a studio here on Capitol Hill. We have a new studio up in Greenwood. I'm also a co-producer for Daybreaker Seattle, which is a morning mischief mission of starting off your weekday nice and strong with yoga, followed by a sober dance party.
Cool.
Yeah. Happy to
Love
be
it.
here with you crazy ladies.
So there's a connection in those
Oh,
worlds.
yeah.
I
yeah.
love it.
So it's like this new thing that everyone, like, this is what we do when we introduce ourselves. Someone's like, so what do you do? And you're like,
It's like happiness with spirituality.
And I love dancing, and then I
but
work
we
for
like
myself,
dancing, and then
and
there's
I also-
plants.
yeah.
And it's my thing.
Yeah, getting down kind of in, like, when you work and live in this world and you're doing so many projects and collaborating on different levels, to say what you do in one, like, a lot of other people can do, like, I'm a copywriter.
You're like, great.
And
The
you
end.
have the whole worlds, and you're like,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Or that's all I want to know.
Exactly.
So, guys, have you guys noticed that you have fused, like, all these different areas of your life into these projects? And either one of you can answer.
Or was this dream like what you're doing now is the whole complete thing?
So basically for me, I created Yo-Yo Yoga through the record label that I was working with and for, who I invest in at Shameless Productions. So 7 years
cool.
ago, we would throw these big parties at the infamous Electric Tea Garden, which
I
was rated
remember
like,
that.
yes, it was
Yes.
like one of the top 10 underground clubs in the
Yes.
world. And
Wow.
we
That's
would
dope.
have these parties, and I was getting older, and we were doing these shows, and I was really big into yoga. And I was like, we need to do yoga pre-party so that we can start off the night and like with this energy, and we can build it throughout the night, and then we last all night long with this like really cool collective vibe, and everyone was a little bit more healthy, a little stronger,
Yeah, a little bit.
and a little
Get your workout in.
detox to retox, if you will. So yeah, that's how it all started. So basically, it is my life.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I turned 32 this year. I'm feeling fantastic.
Yeah.
Lovely. Loving it.
Are we all in our 30s? Sarah, are you
Yeah.
in your 30s?
I just turned 31 on
Hell
Monday.
yeah.
Oh.
31, 32, 33, 34.
No, 30. I'm
Perfect.
35.
Oh, you ruined it, girl, with your old ass.
You know I'm 35.
I know.
Wah,
I
wah.
say it a lot. 35 is like,
I
I'm
was-
35
I forget
now.
how old we are.
I'm 35, so
As a
speaking
woman,
as a
that's
35-year-old.
35.
Yeah, right. I'm like more of a kid than ever. But congratulations on everyone's birthdays.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
And then Sarah, what about you? With everything you're doing with Grinning Yogi, like how long have you been practicing yoga,
Yeah.
and how has this kind of led you to this?
So this feels like stage one of everything I've done in my life, all kind of colliding together. I've practiced yoga on and off since elementary school.
Wow.
I've always
like, did you
danced.
learned it in your family?
Oh, well, I grew up doing ballet, so dance was a really big part of my life.
Yeah.
And so yoga was part of our conditioning,
Nice.
quote unquote, conditioning. So when you weren't doing hardcore ballet or jazz or lyrical, you were doing yoga on the side to help keep you limber. So
Yeah.
it's something I did all throughout growing up. Kind of fell off the bandwagon a little bit in college. I was studying dance professionally, and so yoga took a little bit of a backseat while I was studying dance, and then came back to it, got really, really invested in it, became a teacher, taught all over the city, and kind of looked for a place to land. And Grinning was always just, I felt accepted from day one.
Yeah.
There's no mirrors. It's really playful. We crank the music. We say fuck a lot.
Yeah.
Great place.
We do
Yeah.
too.
You
I
can
love
just,
that place.
just be you.
It's good
And
yoga.
became really good friends with the my business partner and the owner at the time, Jamie Silverstein. She's a wonderful human, and we just stayed in contact, kept taking classes, and then when she moved to Portland and had a baby, got married, life started to really kick in. She asked for
Yeah.
help, and she was like, "You want to help me on this wild ride?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I do."
Wow.
So
Cool.
I feel very fortunate to be working with her and doing that. And then Daybreaker was also kind of the same thing. Heather, you know, and
Yeah.
Annie, you
Yeah.
know Royce
Loving
and
some-
Austin
loving
too.
some Daybreaker.
We did our own thing for
Yeah.
a while, for a year, under a different name called The Wake, which
Yeah.
was early morning yoga and a dance party in a nightclub setting, but completely sober.
Yeah.
And then Daybreaker is this big institution out in New York.
Right.
They're actually in 18 cities around the world now.
Oh my
Louisa,
gosh, that's
Louisa.
huge.
Throwing parties once a month
That growth
all
is
around the
big.
world. Yes, it's huge. And so they kind of had their eye on us for a couple months. They approached us and said, rather than competing, which was really lovely, again, why we're
Yeah.
here, instead of competing with you, since we both have the same mission, why don't
Right.
we join forces? We'll quote unquote hire you. You'll become Daybreaker rather than the Wake, and we'll we'll continue on. We'll bring in the knowledge that we have. We'll take the awareness that you have of Seattle, and let's do this thing together. So that's a
Sweet.
once a month yoga and dance party.
And
that
how
we
long ago was
throw.
that they came to you with that?
They approached us really early on last year, but our first party officially under Daybreaker wasn't until September.
Wow.
And how has the marriage of that gone?
Beautifully.
Yeah?
I mean, they gave us a nice budget, which was great.
That's always fun.
Because as you know, starting your own thing, bootstrapping it,
Oh my
like
gosh.
Austin, Royce, and I were just hustling like the people we know. We're
Mhm.
like, ooh, how can we do this?
Yeah.
I'd bust out my Burning Man costumes and bring those as like decorations because we couldn't afford decorations.
So it started as a hustle. Did you
Oh,
start
it
as
was
a
a
hustle?
side
too?
hustle.
Oh, yeah.
It's all a hustle.
It's always
in the
a
beginning.
It's
call it-
always
Yeah.
yes.
But
Labor of
that's-
love.
Yeah.
Exactly, but
Labor
that
of
makes
love.
it more
Uh-huh.
fun. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then Daybreaker stepped in and gave us kind of like the structure. They do all the social media. They give us our budget.
Oh, cool.
They have some built-in connections, which is really great.
Right.
But it takes. They don't know the city though. You know, they're operating out of
Right.
New York, so they rely on us a lot for
Yeah.
for the heart of the city, the venues, the teachers. We get to do all that.
Cool.
So that's what's really fun. But,
Sounds like a good collection of resources between the
yeah,
two.
but I just feel really fortunate to take. I mean, I'm sure Annie can say the same thing. Like, take the things that I love, and somehow, knock on wood, make a living.
Make a buck.
That's
Make
the,
a buck.
that's
That's what
the
we're talking
ticket
about.
right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
pretty
This is a
cool.
big it's a shift happening with the way that I kind of see like the old paradigm, right, was you do work and work is like just work and people work is
A
work.
separate thing.
You go to work and you do your work and like that's
You don't
work,
gotta like
and
it.
then
Yeah.
it's and then it's
Exactly.
life, right? Even the
Oftentimes you
phrase
hate
like
it.
Yeah.
a lot of times you hate it. And then you're like, but people go, it's work. Get over it. And you're like, okay, work
can't
is
complain.
hard. Work equals money. So
Like to
great.
get money, I have to do something.
Yeah,
that
and then
I
it's like
like.
work-life balance, right? So like everything else is your life, and like you have to have the balance. And in your life, you're just doing your hobbies and your projects, and like those don't make money because they don't suck.
It'd be cool if you were even doing your hobbies and your projects, but most people
Yeah.
are just recovering from
Right.
work.
From the work,
Or they're
Yeah.
drowning their sorrows from the work
Exactly.
that they do, 'cause
Exactly.
they're not
I've
doing
done
In
something
whatever
both
way
of
you want to
those
recover.
things.
You're drinking all weekend. You're like getting all your errands done all weekend. You're visiting friends all weekend because
Yep.
you feel bad you haven't seen them. Like,
Or you do nothing all weekend.
or you do,
or
yeah,
you're
or you do
comatose with Netflix and Jai
nothing.
Tai
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
takes you out for a good 2 days.
Because you're doing
It's
so much
personal.
during the week that you're like, I just want to actively make no choices and go nowhere
Yeah.
and do nothing.
Yeah.
And go
And
Netflix,
numb
just
out.
play. I'm just going to
Just
push
play,
a button
yeah.
and I don't even care
There
what
you
you
go.
put on for me.
It started like I remember when we were kind of dismantling this stuff. It's been probably the last 3 years of us getting further, balancing it way more to where now we are like what 100%, 92% doing our dream. But it is
Yes.
when we try to explain the math and how it works to people. We can't put it on a spreadsheet how
No.
it's working.
Like I couldn't tell
Stuff
someone in
just
step by
kicks
step like
in.
how I went from working regular jobs to this. It was like, you know what I mean? It was
I
like
can't write a book
it
about
was
this
like
yet. Like,
all,
I don't
all
even
the
know.
steps and the things that came into being. But I will say that we jumped in a big way when we decided like that I don't have to pay attention to that paradigm anymore. I don't have to think that my money comes from shitty place, job, whatever, hustle, and then my passion, like someday maybe like I'll make money, but I have no idea. I was like, we're in that mode of like, let's marry those together. Other people do it all the time. And you know, it may come to you. You may start making money in ways that you didn't necessarily plan for. And that's why this like the kind of like conscious community that this is part of like healers and yoga and plant medicine and everything, sound baths, all of this world it's going to be a different way, I think, than just going to like a business coach and being like, help me make this my business. There's a different shift
Yes.
happening.
Like selling tickets, really. Like there's got to be all these different avenues. Have you guys bumped up
yeah.
against?
Yeah.
Like what have been the avenues
When you
that
do
you've
what you
seen?
love and you just consciously are trying to make a difference, I feel like it never feels like work. So the money kind of just comes to you, and that's probably why you can't like pinpoint like what happened. How did I go from like having a job with an employer to employing myself and finding my own time and making all these projects work? I'm out of town like half the week every week traveling, which is my passion for what I do for work, but it never feels like work. So it's just like going. And then you start to like, once I've collaborated with lots of different people around the world, I started to kind of figure out a good pay structure. But I like to keep it so that anyone could come. So if anybody can't afford my events, I will have them help me volunteer or do something. But you do have to find a way to structure kind of like ticket sales and things like that. And I feel like it's helpful to have a little bit, maybe take like one business class or two. That's what I did to just kind of like community college to kind of get a good concept. But,
totally, because there is stuff you need to know. You are working within the confines of this system.
You're still running a business. Like, you have to have business knowledge. It's just not 100% for profit.
Right.
So you're like, my bottom line is to make a profit. It's like, my bottom line is to help people, to energize communities, to do this and that, and like, and I want the money to support me doing that.
All the time.
That's the balance.
I don't want to do it all the time. Yeah.
That's the balance, but also knowing what you want out of life. So what makes you rich, right? For me, it's traveling. For me, it's seeing people smile.
Amen.
For me, it's being around music. For me, it's yoga. For me, it's all of those things. So my bottom line is to have all of those experiences. So if I can wrap them in with making money and having that, then it's like perfection for me.
Awesome. And either or, right? Like, if you have the means to travel and you somehow get around, you got a perk, like, then I don't need the money for that travel. I got the travel. Okay, now what can I use the money for?
Balance.
Balancing it. And finding your resources where all of a sudden money is just another resource and not like the thing, how you get everything else. It's just like another...
It's another,
awesome,
that's the
like,
person
thing
you
that
meet. It's
comes
a
along.
situation that happens. You get some money. It's part of it. It's not like, well, I get all the money first, and then I can do all my dreams. And that's how I used to think of it. Is like, okay, once I just like, get the money,
don't know
then I'll start
how much it is or
doing
where.
the classes and the things. And one of my greatest teachers told me, and I hadn't heard it in this way before because I wasn't ready, but she goes, do everything you want right now for free, and the money will come later. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? I'm like, how do I do things for free? I don't have the money to do it.
But we need money.
Yeah.
Well, I think these days too, I mean, there's something to be said about you're drawn to people because of their passion, their energy.
Yes.
I feel like, I'm sure you get that a lot, Heather.
Oh,
where
well,
people
you hooked me up with one of our
drawn to
favorite
you.
people. Yeah, it's just what you need comes to you.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you practice that in all aspects of your life, so even money, like for me, I still have a little hang up about it because I've always felt that
Me
same
too.
way. Like, I've never had enough. I've never been able to do the things I want. And it's requires you to do a shift in your perspective of like, no, I have everything I need. That will come to me if I continue to do the things that I love and I continue to attract the right people in my life that believe in what I do. And we've talked about this before about like, how do you charge for the things that you love?
Yeah.
And or do you charge? And I remember saying to you when we did our first like little meditation yoga class where I was like, we're charging.
Yeah.
We're offering a service.
Yep.
This
and
is
our time.
And our time. This is a gift. And people will pay for that.
They will.
And years of training and years of study, and you know, they're not just paying for someone
and my heart, my
to
energy.
love it.
And we were saying, like, you don't go to a restaurant and talk to the chef, be like, hey, I know you love doing this, so like, do I have to pay you? Because like, you like it.
Right.
And
you
even
don't
if
do that
it's-
to any other profession.
There's this bitterness that comes with people being like seeing you if they're not in alignment with themselves and they're like knowing, like you said, this is what I love. This is how I get paid. I get paid in travel. I get paid in friendship. I get paid in dancing. Like, you know that in yourself so clearly. So if someone doesn't know that and they're just like doing the like job money thing and they see you and you're like, I'm not going to give you money. Like,
You're not
you know,
doing it.
you
Like,
love
for
you
what?
love your life. Like, you're doing it because
You don't
love
have to
it.
work.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you need this
It's a little bit
for?
of resentment on that.
What do you
end.
guys, I mean, with ticket prices and charging, like, where are you guys at with that? I mean, it sounds like you
For
do
me,
a sliding scale.
I go anywhere from $15 to $20, depending on my headliner and what my costs are to present my shows. And I like to keep it at that number because with the venues I've been booking, the capacity is rather large.
Yeah.
So it tends to be a really good turnout. Once I go a little bit higher, I feel like it limits who can come.
So it's more like you're kind of feeling out, because I did have a little business coach mentor, and she was like, no, you need to know how much you spend on all the things in it. I'm like, I'm kind of filling out ticket prices based on like what I know about people. It's different now. She's like, no, there's a formula. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. So yeah, it's like that 15 to 20. And we went to, Amanda, what did we go to the other day? And it was like $60 for like a sound bath, a yoga, and a thing. And we were like, Dang. But then we went. Christina Urbina. It was
Yeah,
like it was like
$60.
no. How much
What
was
was
it?
that?
30, 40?
What? Oh,
Christina Urbina.
but when did you go to? Sorry,
When you were
I'm
there.
trying to remember.
When you
Sorry,
were at the
everyone out
sound
there.
bath with Kate.
Oh, I think it was like 2020. Oh, 25. Yeah.
Okay, it's in that world. I've
Yeah.
seen things that are 60, but my point was like they'll be for like really great sound bowl people, or like they'll be the
It's
biggest thing,
right.
or like you have all these people kind of coming. And when I see that many people or this like talent that they have, I'm like, if I would pay that for some rock and roll or like the Dixie
For
Chicks, someone I
anything.
really
It's just like going to a
or
concert,
going
right?
with a
Yeah.
And
freaking
it's
doctor for
so
$120
amazing.
visit, you know?
Okay, that's my
Yeah.
thing. If you can
Like-
go to the bar, okay,
Yeah.
on a
Yes.
Oh
club
my
night
God.
and spend $100 on your tab,
Come on.
you have no reason to not go pay for your like a month of yoga or
Right.
a few yoga events
Come
because
on,
it's
like
your
people need to
priorities.
like kind of think of it. Or
Balance.
you can travel if you don't go to the bar four
Yeah.
times
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
Basically, it's
Seriously.
like don't go to the bar, fill in the blank, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's actually how
or
we're doing
do
it.
both,
Yeah.
or do both, but just moderate. Like come to
Yeah.
yo yoga, take a class, and then
Yeah.
you get in free for the after
then you
party.
dance. You were
then
gonna
you can
do it
have some
anyways.
drinks.
Right.
Happy hour.
Well, it's a lot of that
Yeah.
perspective shift, though. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same thing about making that shift from work-life balance, where
Mhm.
work is separate from life, to realizing that paying for an experience like that, that's
Yeah.
all-inclusive, you don't
Right.
need all those other things.
Yeah.
Or you're
Or
getting them.
realizing that your
Yeah.
bar experience on the weekend, spending $100 there, you could have a much better time doing an
Right.
event that is a third.
That feeds
a
you,
fourth
man.
of the
A fourth of
yeah,
that,
like
right.
feeds your energy so you can get through the
Yeah.
next damn week of your miserable life. You know?
And this is an interesting thing with bars because it's we this was kind of like what you were touching on the beginning, where it's like we say fuck in the yoga studio, and like this is why we call this podcast Semi Woo. We've touched on this before, but we were so afraid to get into any of this like life because we thought we had to get into all of the life.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was like, well, now I'm just this party girl from San Diego, and that was my like identity after college and stuff. Right? Like
Hey.
I
It's
like the
true
beach
for many years.
and partying, and I like listen to music, and I go to shows, and I party. So to me, all the like as I was getting to like a more spiritual side or a more balanced life, it actually wasn't balanced because to me it was 100% the other way. Like I talk quieter, I wear beads, I wear the things, I do
Now
yoga.
I
I like
gotta,
it was.
like,
I have to like
ashrams
put
and-
on
Oh,
the
God,
whole thing,
no.
right? I'm Buddhist now. Okay,
We
great.
need a whole new
And-
wardrobe. We
Yeah.
can't eat meat. We gotta like.
Yeah, no more
I
meat,
have
no more this,
not
no more
shaved
that.
my
Cheese and
armpits
nuts, no
anymore.
shaving, no
Definitely.
shaving.
I better throw my razors away. I'm spiritual, and you just trash it.
No.
So people still, that talk to us with that in our regular life, and we're like chipping along, and then all of a sudden we'll say like, oh yeah, we worked at an ayahuasca retreat, and so
They'll be
just
like,
to be like, yeah, like oh we
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
But you're standing here drinking, trying to hit on that guy. It's like, no, I know.
yeah. So.
yeah, I still have a life too.
You can have both.
It's
You
that
can totally have
spiritual-
Or you
both.
can have a little bit of it all. I always joke
Yeah.
in class. I say, try it on, take it back. We're just like Nordstrom. If
Right.
it doesn't work for you, take it back. So
Yeah.
yeah, try on that spiritual shit. Try the
Yeah,
beads. Try
right.
not shaving, and then be like,
Yeah.
I don't feel any different. I'm gonna go back to my cute
Yeah.
blonde hair.
Yeah.
And
And my mascara.
strangely, I do have my times when I'm like, take out all my beads and I take out all my
Yeah.
crystals,
Yeah.
and I use those
did
with
that a little
intention, and I do
woo-woo.
love them.
Yeah.
You can keep both, and
I
then you
know.
can mix and match.
Yeah.
Like Sarah's
And they
saying,
can just
yeah,
be
you can mix
you.
and match.
They
It's
can be
about,
all
like,
those
yeah,
things.
Take
going
the
down all
things you
these
like out of
roads.
each.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because eventually your spirituality is just who you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just who you are.
It is
Whether
who
you
you
drink
are.
or you don't, or you dance or you don't, or you have casual sex or you don't, or you eat meat or you don't. All the things. It's not a lifestyle. It's who you
Right.
are.
And
It's not-
that's
it's
what
not a
makes you
dogma.
successful is
Yeah.
the minute you start being you, no one else can be you.
Mm-hmm.
So I
And
always tell
sold.
everyone that. All the like DJs that
Sold.
come through and they're like and instructors and they're like, what should I do? I'm like, you do you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you have an hour, you do whatever you want to do because it's going to make you unique and
Stand out.
special. And the
Yeah.
minute you're you, that's when everything comes to you easily. And,
And
that's
we need
when
your
This is so
puzzle piece.
true.
We need you to be
Exactly.
you because we like all learn from each other, and everyone has a different style. It's been so awesome going to Grinning Yogi and trying all these different teachers, and I'm noticing the difference in them and like what they have to offer and how the flow is there. It's so personal and it's beautiful, and the choreography is like different, and it's been so interesting to see it that way
Yeah.
and what everyone has to bring to the table.
Well, and Annie's always really good about. I love yo-yo yoga, and she always does a really great job curating the teachers that you get.
Yeah.
Not only a taste for you, because of course you're asking someone, so that there's a little piece of you that's expressed in the teacher, but you pick these teachers that are like, they're all over the place. Like Joe Burley.
Yeah, it's like fun
Magical.
getting to
Yeah.
know
He's magical.
people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have, our good friend Angela
Yes.
teaching for you soon. And
Yeah.
to me, they're like, whoa, they're so opposite, but they're also lovely because they're themselves.
Yep.
And that's
All the
the
time.
common theme that I
All
want
the
to see.
time.
Yeah. They're not like yoga people, whatever
No.
that concept is in our mind, right?
No.
Like fighting with that. It's so
And
funny.
they're not trying to be anyone else. They're
No,
themselves.
they are uniquely
Yeah.
themselves and magical creatures.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why.
Shout
that's
out
why
to
you love
Joe
it.
Burley and Angela Mitchell Pike.
Woo!
Yeah.
Do you guys pick from friends who you collaborate with, just kind of who's attracted around you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I like to really showcase yoga instructors and DJs that give back to the community
Yeah.
and who are just very unique and different so that each time we can kind of showcase someone new. I really love doing that, but I'm drawn to those types of people, so I guess that answers your question.
Yeah,
Whoever,
right.
We're all
and
sitting in
people
this
who have
room.
affected my life. So if I've taken a class with someone and it's just really shifted my mindset or I connected with a new thought or energy, I like to bring them to my events because I'm like, I want you to experience this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Or same with the musical guests that I have.
Yeah.
Someone
And
that's
we found
affected me.
collaborating with people. I mean, that's why you guys are sitting here. We're like, who's doing something big in this town? Who's doing something?
Yeah.
Who's looking? What do we like to go to exactly? And
What
that's
is like
how- they're
what's
like,
moving and
"Oh,
shaking
yeah, I
in
wanna talk
Seattle,
to
and
this
in so
person."
many different realms, you
Yeah.
know. And obviously, it's easy. One day, it's so funny, like in natural ways, like when I naturally meet people, or here or there at
Right.
a cafe, talking, vibing. Those are my awesome connections. When I try
Yeah.
to sit on Google and be like, literally, what are the top people in Seattle right
oh,
now?
God.
And then I start reading all these
Oh,
stupid
God.
lists
so
of
weird,
like
an
top 30 under 30, and
economists
it's like
and
project manager from and I'm like,
analysts, financial analysts.
this?
We're like,
Which I'm sure they're lovely.
I'm sure they're great, and they
Sure,
have
they're lovely.
And for
something to
people who
talk
are in that
about.
business, they want to know that.
Right.
And I was like, how do I search on Google like my I'm like, what is
There
my
needs to
You
be
gotta be
role?
like, what do we like?
there needs to be an energy map on Seattle of like,
Yeah.
Ooh,
like an
that's a good
aura,
idea.
like an
Gosh,
aura
like an
map,
aura.
like
I love it.
you know.
Or when in doubt,
Right.
find a burner. That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'll do.
know.
yeah.
Amen.
Look for
When-
some
When in
feathers and
doubt,
neon.
every single burner group has a financial advisor, a lawyer, every
course.
single thing you
Totally.
need. So whenever I'm in doubt and I need help with a business question or a
That's
legal
such a great
advice,
idea.
find a burner.
Yeah.
Well, and
tell you not.
they're resourceful, they're creative.
Yep.
Right.
You know they're down for a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Such-
so
we
true.
had a
There
lady
needs
in
to be
here
like
yesterday.
a registry
Yeah.
or a
Yep.
directory.
What would
Well,
a burner
like
do?
conscious,
I know.
What would a
spiritual. Yeah.
burner do?
Call a burner.
Yeah, well, we were actually thinking that, and this is something. It's like, you know how you have what you're doing in your life, and then like the pile of like million ideas
all
you
the
have. Like put it in
dreams.
a
Oh,
put it in the dream pile. So one night we had this dream. Like, what if there was like if we started like a conscious community group in Seattle that could reach? There's nothing
Yeah.
specific. It doesn't have to be any.
resources.
It could be you could be a coffee shop owner and be like, but I'm interested in like hosting more things about like the body or like doing things consciously. Like it's in every business right now. You see these little sparks of
Absolutely.
like with music, or there was something I was reading the other day is there was like a famous chef from Texas who recently got sober, and he was just like everyone knew it was like they used his name as a verb, like someone's bratting again, like because they were going crazy because he was like a crazy alcoholic,
Oh,
and so once he got
yeah.
sober, he had this realization that there's so much alcoholism in the restaurant industry, which there is. It's
Yeah.
like the highest industry.
Yeah, for sure.
And so he started advocating for just not necessarily like, so everyone gets sober, but just like, let's do things in the restaurant industry other than all drink together.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, let's start
Well,
Yeah,
creating a
hang
different
out.
world where we
Yeah.
can hang out, or we can go on bike rides, or we can go like just like to change, not be like, stop drinking. Because like, sorry, you're not going to get everyone in the restaurant industry to stop drinking. 'cause
No.
That's
You
why
can get
we
everyone to
started
go on a
our
hike.
company.
Right, like you
Yeah.
did. Like
That's what
introduce
Daybreaker's
something
all about.
positive.
That's
DJs,
like,
yeah. Oh,
oh
totally.
yeah, that lifestyle. I was like, if I live to see 30 with this lifestyle, I'm gonna be lucky.
Oh, DJs.
But if I can shift it over and then everyone starts with yoga, maybe you don't have that second or third or fourth drink, or maybe you don't
Right.
do
Maybe
make
you're too busy
those
dancing 'cause you're
questionable
all- yeah,
decisions later.
exactly.
Yeah, because you feel like you did something.
It's a
positive
small
for
change, but it's a
yourself.
huge change in
Huge.
the industry.
Because once you're tapped in and you're super conscious of what you're doing, it's a little harder to drink
Right.
any cocktails.
And
I
that's
know.
the,
it's just
It
like
is.
because you're there and you're
Well,
like,
and you've been making actual connections with people. I mean, this is a
Absolutely.
Right.
huge part of Daybreaker. Is I mean, they say it's a sober dance party. So if people come intoxicated or ask like, "Where's
Yeah.
the bar?" We'll be like,
Yeah.
"No, this is
Yeah.
the whole point is to make an actual genuine connection, not only with
Right.
other people but with yourself. Like
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
like,
heavily
can you
drinking,
dance sober?
yeah. And can you enjoy the music in the same way? Can you enjoy the yoga? Oh God, that'd be dangerous.
Talking to
Oh, that
people?
would be dangerous.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
proving to yourself, which I think a lot of people need to do, and there was points in my life that I had forgotten that I could, which is talk to a stranger without like liquid courage.
Yeah.
Walk up to someone and be like, "This is my name. Who are you? And it's gonna be okay.
those
And it's
moves.
fine.
It's cute.
You
It's
know?
raw. When I first saw the concept of Daybreaker when we were in New York, I was like,
Yes.
ooh, that's raw. I was like, dang, like people are gonna be up in there. Maybe it's gonna be like no one's gonna dance or talk, and it was
Or
so
we thought it was gonna be
relieving.
people who were already like still high from
Right,
the
we're
night
like,
before, who are
oh, because that's
"Next
very
party!"
New York. Like, oh, it's the 7 a.m.
There are a few
Great.
of those.
There are always.
There are a few.
It's
That
a
just
morning
happen to
dance
still
party.
be
It
awake.
happens.
Yeah.
But I was so excited to see like real human beings having a great time connecting, dancing, and I mean like really dancing. It wasn't just like shuffle sidestep. People get down. And I
Yeah.
was really proud of humans that they could still do that.
Right.
Well, and I feel like it helps to have yoga right before. I
Yes.
mean, this is something that both Yo-Yo Yoga and Daybreaker really believe in, is you start from that really centered, grounded mindfulness
Yeah.
place. It gets everyone on this playing field of where they can be open,
And
they
you
can be
share
receptive.
something
You
Yeah.
share
together.
Collective
Mhm.
experience
Ceremony,
is
yeah.
huge. And then when you open the gates to like all the energy coming in, they're already so secure in who they are that they're like, fuck yeah,
Yes.
bring this on. I don't
Yeah,
need I
I've
don't
seen
need
you in
booze.
a leg
It's
up.
been helping the
Wow.
most for our guests that come. For me, it's just like been amazing to see like 21-year-olds. So people
Yeah.
are like, is yo-yo yoga suitable for beginners? And I'm like, you need to come because I've only seen them at our shameless parties getting, getting down.
Right, right,
And
right.
so I'm like, you need to come. And it just like warms my heart to see people that have just started into the 21 bar scene
Right.
come and they do yoga for the first time because there's a DJ and then they know there's a party afterwards. And it
Right.
just like has changed their life. And to me, that's like the biggest accomplishment I've ever had and seen in my life.
That's
But
awesome.
like she's saying, this collective energy, because they come and they don't feel like if they went to a studio, they feel like it's kind of awkward. They've never been to a yoga studio, but they can
Right.
come and do yoga with all these people, and then the collective energy just gets so great, and then they get a dance, and if they want to drink, have a drink.
Sure.
But it's just a different
But
experience.
that's the real party.
Yeah.
Like,
And do
that's
you
the
find at those
feeling, yeah.
events that people don't really drink as much as maybe other?
I say
um,
half drink as much as they normally would,
Yeah,
but they're in a very
'Cause
good
you're having a
That's-
great
that's
it's
your-
your
I mean, that's
party. Your party
amazing.
party.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'm drinking through the night because I want it to be more fun. And I mean, we all do that. And it doesn't get more fun.
No.
I know.
You
and
just
every
like,
time
don't
You think
realize
it
as much.
does.
alcohol tells you like, no, I promise, one more, and it's gonna
It's
be
gonna
even
turn
better.
out.
Especially
You're
at
like,
$16 a pop. That
Oh,
does not get
alcohol.
more
No.
fun.
God, come
I always say
on.
that about priorities. Like there would be a time in my life, like in New York especially, where I was like, drop of a hat, no problem, $14 cocktail, whatever, whatever.
bat an
And then
eye.
I would go to like, because I was like out of clothes, and would go to like TJ Maxx, and I'm like, $19.99 for a shirt. Fuck off.
No.
And I'm like, I can't
Terrible.
even
Yeah.
spend that
Yeah.
on something I need for my body.
Right,
Yeah.
to cover myself.
But a little
at
bit
the
of like
bar.
a stupid, crafted with the. I'm not talking shit on alcohol because I still do drink now and then. It's a lot less these days, and it's way more consciously, and it's on purpose, and it's by a choice. But it's just like it's amazing in that like crazy bar culture where even if. There's just so much more. And I went in a time in my life, my late 20s, early 30s, where I'm like, I'm so sick of drinking, but I do like going out and I do want to meet new
Yeah.
people and I want the
Right.
excitement of like getting ready with the music. And
Yeah.
I like
Somewhere
that.
to go,
Somewhere
like
to
a
go,
party.
a place, a
It
party.
was never a party for a while.
I
It
know.
was a drink
and I was like, but I have
Yeah.
to
time
drink.
with friends I was already talking to before I got there.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something. I'm like, I'm not just going to go and drink. Like, I'll go drink and dance or I'll drink and something, but I'm not just going to drink to drink to drink.
And
Well,
then
it's
and sit
definitely a new
around.
movement I've seen. So, like in the last 2 years, I've seen it just build and build, and I've been all over the world. Like we've been booked in Germany.
Wow.
We've been booked all
cool.
over for music festivals, and it's just so cool to see people like starting to change and have this consciousness,
love it.
and they love it, and
Yeah.
it's just been great. The Dirty Bird Campout does
I
it.
love
Yes.
Dirty
Like,
Bird
I've been
DJs.
doing it
Please,
every
if you're
year.
listening,
Like,
please.
road trip, ladies road trip.
We're going to
Yes,
go to the
oh,
Dirty
yes,
Bird
I'm going. I'm in.
Okay.
Like,
Well, I'll be there
100%.
doing yo-yo yoga
Oh, we're all
every year.
going. Oh
My
my God! I knew
God.
it was on the
Have to go.
calendar for a reason.
Yeah.
Boom.
Fireworks!
By the
We're
way,
gonna
this
get
has
buttons
nothing
then.
to do with that, but J Flip will be here.
Oh!
Yeah,
When?
she's
She's
coming
our
Friday,
fave. I'm gonna break the
August
table in half.
11th for the Noise Complaint 1-year anniversary.
Be there.
Shameless teamed up with her.
Okay.
That's my shameless plug for the
yeah.
podcast. So, hey,
I'm
J Flip
tense
in the
with
house.
happiness.
What up?
J Flip, if you guys don't know, you don't need to know. She's just the fucking bomb. She's
Amazing.
Yeah.
insane.
Awesome
She's
Dirty
little
Bird
and
DJ out of
powerful
Chicago
and
and dirty.
And the
She
best
is.
person.
Listen, you're a dirty.
Dirty.
You're a dirty bird.
Yeah.
She
She's
is
like
a
the
dirty
thing with
bird.
their little ponytail
so
and her
cute.
bangs, and she's just
And
going
she's up
for
there
it.
and like, and she'll
We
get
saw
you
her at
going.
the festival.
She played one of
Yeah.
our first shows at ETG 7 years ago.
No way.
Yep.
Wow.
She's young.
If I would have seen her there, maybe I should line up the dates and see if I did see her.
7 years ago.
Well, I'll introduce you when you come out. Yes.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
She's one of my oldest
Heather,
friends.
you guys didn't
She's
see me.
gonna
Heather
have
just
to
Heather's
exfoliate.
palpitating a little bit over there. Oh.
I love it.
That's so cool.
All right, guys. So on that laughter, we're gonna take a little break. You guys won't even notice. If you drink water really fast, do that, and we'll be back in just a moment. Semi-woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're back. Hope you enjoyed your water or tea or any other conscious beverage that you chose during the break. This is Amanda.
And Heather, and we're back.
We're back with
with
the lovely
Annie and
ladies.
SarahRose in the studio, kind of rounding out. It's been an awesome time.
Yeah, completely awesome. So Sarah, you had kind of a topic or a subject you'd like to talk about. Why don't you
Yeah.
introduce that?
I've had a talk with Annie about this before. I've had a talk with Heather, and I feel like it's something that's been not heavy on my heart, but something that I've noticed more and more and more.
Yeah,
Is the competition among
absolutely.
not only yoga teachers, and it's great that Annie's here, but competition in air quotes of people that are following their passion and following their heart and trying to make a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We live in such an amazing city that's really fruitful for artists, for yoga teachers, for music.
It's hot right now.
Yeah, it is.
And it's
Yeah.
also in the summer, I mean, everything explodes.
Oh,
We really
God.
only have maybe 3 months, maybe a little bit less. And so I feel like now is when, like, I get text messages from people. Like, Annie and I both have an event tomorrow.
Right.
Thursday
like
night.
tomorrow night.
Same
Same
time.
time.
Same time.
Yoga, dance.
Yeah,
Same
well, I
time.
was like morning. I was like
Yeah.
Daybreaker. Why is it at night
Yeah.
during my show?
Yeah.
They
So-
broke the day. It's over. It's
They
nighttime now.
broke it.
Yeah, we're trying it out.
Yeah.
New York wanted us to try it out.
It's
Their
called
blueprint
dusk.
is Thursday. And we were like,
Oh,
Okay.
right.
so it creates this tension, right? But rather than ignoring it, I'm actually really glad that we're here in the same room together. How do we, as facilitators of consciousness, as facilitators of our passion,
Yeah.
how do we start to break down that feeling of competition? I even got a text message from one of my friends that's like, "Don't make me pick." And I'm like,
Oh,
Ooh,
I was
Lord.
like, "Oh, I'm not
Ooh, we got
asking you to
yoga
pick."
wars.
You should have
Yeah.
been like,
Yoga
"Oh,
war.
that's it. Dang."
He was like, "No, I'm not asking you to pick."
Yogi war.
Yeah. Chaturanga contest.
Go to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Go.
Chaturanga you in the face.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So-
asana your ass off.
Exactly. I'm gonna kick your asana.
Kick your awesome.
But
Sure, there's a T-shirt that's.
and I know that maybe she was being playful, but I totally took it to heart because it's something I've been feeling and like, fuck, what are
Yeah.
things that I can do? What are things that we can do? What are things that we can do as women, as curators?
You know, a
to
side
help?
note here is when you guys were explaining your events, I loved the range of offerings, like that you can do like a sober party or a party where you can have some drinks after. I like that the vibe, and even though they sound like the same from what you were saying,
They're very
I know
different.
they're both
They're the
Yeah.
same but different.
And
Yeah.
with different
Same, but
music and with
different.
and like
different
we were saying
DJs,
kind of earlier.
yeah, having different like
I mean,
yoga people.
every time that this comes up, because this comes up a lot with just in this world, right? And it even just that kind of natural feeling of competition, like when we call it like purpose burn, is something that like relates to this. So it's when you see someone doing something that's just so your purpose that you almost can't like
or just
watch
looks
it.
so fucking good,
And you're
we're
like,
Oh yeah.
Man, and
I
you're
don't wanna
like,
look at- I don't like the
know, you know,
pictures.
like this purpose burn, but it's like a good thing. It's like a healthy,
yeah.
Right.
a healthy burn toward like, wow, they're like living this, you know,
They're
thing.
doing
So
it.
Because deep down you're happy for them.
Yes.
You're just
course.
watching them
You're
and
do
like,
you reach out to them then? Because that's what
It
I
takes
make
me
myself
a while
do.
sometimes
If I
where I'm
see
like,
that in
ooh,
myself, I'm
right.
like, okay, that's someone I want to be around.
Yes,
I
that's a
just learned this lesson
sign.
recently.
That's
with-
someone I want
yeah.
to like
Or
pull into
somebody
my
that you have
circle.
aligned things with. And
Yeah.
who was the one for us just like a few months ago? Kyle Cease.
Kyle
So
Cease,
he
yeah.
does these like basically he's doing stand up,
He's
but
like
he's
a
bringing
conscious
people up and he's
comedian.
helping them. He's
Yeah.
facilitating this opening for them right on the stage. And us being stand up comedians, we were like, oh man, he's doing the thing.
Yeah.
He gets to do the stand up. He gets to do the healing. Like this is
Right,
wonderful.
and it's like, and he
I
gets
couldn't
to
watch the
play to like, you know,
videos.
like 5,000 people,
Yeah.
and they're talking and laughing. And he's making jokes. It's
Yeah,
like,
and I'm sitting there burning, couldn't watch the videos. And then when I finally freaking reached out, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, and watched him, I'm like, oh, he's doing his own thing. It really, even though we do comedy and we facilitate ceremony, like we've got our own flavor.
I know.
And it was
Right.
completely different than
And
his.
we're even, you know,
Right.
close best friends
Yeah.
for 15 years, and we're so different.
Right.
So, like you were saying, if you're truly being yourself,
exactly.
it isn't really the same. And you are going to draw your own audience that wants not only your brand of something like, okay, one's drinking and one's not, but like, I want to go because like Sarah runs it, or I want to go because like
they
this
booked
DJ.
because you guys
Right.
curate
You know?
DJs
Yeah.
and yoga.
And if there's
I'm a
like
yoga
38
professor.
bars within 2
know why
blocks
that
of
was in
here,
my
there can
head.
be two yoga nights on the.
Well, yeah,
two
it's,
things-
it's
you know,
like
bar
coffee
nights?
shops.
Yeah,
You
how
know,
many
we have
coffee shops?
millions of coffee shops in Seattle.
When
It's
somebody
all the
opens an Italian
details that
restaurant,
you
they don't get a
like.
text from their friend being like, "Dude, I
Don't
have
make
an
me
Italian
pick."
restaurant."
I
They're
know.
like, "Don't make me pick between you and the
But it
40
does
others."
feel like competition because that's, I think, the natural mode,
Yeah.
just like in a capitalist society, which is like, okay, it's competing to the bottom line, right? It's competing to be
Right.
like who can
Especially
make
as
more and who
women.
can win.
Like I hate to say it, but with
yeah.
so many, yoga teachers, a lot more women are drawn to it. So I feel like as a yoga teacher myself, like I find people being like, "Oh, you're gonna go take her class, but isn't that a competing studio?" And it's like,
Oh,
No.
like that's my homegirl.
Like she's offering a
wanna
brand.
support her.
Yeah.
And I want to go
Yeah.
to do that. And I feel like the same things keep bubbling up for me. And so to me, that means like run towards them
Yeah.
and run away.
it does.
Right.
Yeah.
Like even though it makes me really crunchy, and I'm like, ooh, that is kind of that
Right.
could be an issue. But if you
The
approach
first
it,
thing I did when I saw it was contact Sarah.
Exactly.
I didn't talk to
yeah.
anyone about it except for
Yeah.
Sarah, and I'm like, "Hey, look at this. This might split people up." And I've had some people come to me, but I want to talk to you about it because
Yeah.
you and I are the promoters, and we
Exactly.
can talk
Yeah.
about it, and we're already friends. And I mean,
Yeah.
you've been coming to Yo-Yo Yoga since day one,
Yeah.
and you helped me and Austin and Royce do the first party that I collaborated with them on.
Yeah.
So we've been
You guys
working
have a
together
long
for
history.
years.
That's so
Yeah.
So
cool.
if we can communicate and we can work together, then that's the
It's
main
that
thing.
communication.
Yeah,
know, it is.
exactly.
And not bubbling up these like,
Right.
we take it so personal, and that is a feminine energy thing. This
Uh-huh,
is
it is.
because we are offering ourselves and being authentic and being businesswomen, and like we're offering our curation and our idea of what this fun event should be. And it can feel personal when someone does something like it, but it's never going to be like it.
It's never
No.
gonna
because
be like it,
no one
yeah.
can offer what you're offering.
And
in
the
your way.
baseline kind of question of all of this is, and I have to ask myself this on a daily basis in many different situations, is like, do I believe that this is a limited universe or a limitless universe? Is it infinite? Is there infinite possibility? And does creating more create more? And I'm like, yes, to all of those
Yes.
questions.
Yeah.
More only makes more.
Yeah.
And if we get locked in that, like if we start blocking the channels of energy that are flowing with competition, like mine has to be different, mine has to be better, mine has to be this, and it's like, it just has to be you, and like you go, and it's maybe there's
You
gonna
find
be
your
some rocky
tribes.
times, like ebbs and tides. Like maybe at first, if there are two very similar things on one night, sure, it's not gonna be the same
gonna
as
be
a different
one,
night.
like,
Of
one
course, it's one night.
Yeah.
But it's like if you, like you're saying, if you just communicate and you're like, I'm gonna rise above my maybe like initial feeling of this and take it to like a positive place, which, like you said, this is a evolution of women right now doing this. Those whereas before it was we all competed and we're like, this
And it
bitch is
was
doing this and
real
she thinks she can. It was real
snatchy.
snatch. Still is in a lot of circles. Real snatchy.
Right. And if we communicate in the long run, we can work together, even if it is on the same night. Like, say
Yeah.
someone wants to go to your yoga class at Daybreaker, but wants to come have a drink on my patio and on the deck and do
Yeah.
sunset.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do discount offers.
Yeah,
There's so
like
many
collabos.
options when
Yeah.
you communicate, but there
Yeah.
isn't if you take the other way of just being closed off to it.
And creating a
I
story.
feel like if we're in this industry of acceptance and a higher conscience,
to
Yeah.
practice
then
it.
that is what we need to be practicing.
That's the truth
Yeah.
about this business. Like we're
There
supposed
shouldn't
to
be
be
competition.
communicating
But
right.
you run into so many people, I mean, that aren't living that
Right.
lifestyle. Like that's the
I
other thing
know.
I think is as someone who does this as not just a living, but like this is my lifestyle. This
Yeah.
is who I am.
Yeah.
I find my own feathers get really ruffled when I'm like, fuck that person. They are just reading a script. They
Oh
are-
yeah, because you can.
Oh,
This
right.
is still
You
can
can
be
feel
turned
it.
into
And I'm like,
a
how are they
business.
getting people to
Yeah.
go to their
I
class?
know
Absolutely.
that ruffles my
No,
feathers. A
I've
lot,
been burnt
too.
the most. I have been burnt the hardest and deepest by yoga instructors.
Really?
In my whole life, I have never been burnt worse than by people who
'Cause
are
people is
the
people is
universe
people.
will figure it out. I'm like, oh, am I the universe because I just figured out everything?
Yeah.
And
Well,
you
yeah,
just-
yes, you are.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd think that you'd get burnt in like the
Yeah.
music industry or by
Right.
like an alcoholic or a
Uh-huh.
drug addict.
That's the fallacy
No.
of spirituality.
No,
It
because that-
is.
yoga.
It's a huge
Exactly.
fallacy.
Yoga don't make you a great person.
No,
No.
it doesn't.
A lot of
Or-
great people take
or
yoga,
taking
but it
yoga.
doesn't make
Yeah.
you
Or
a
taking a
great-
yoga
And
class
drinking doesn't make you
better.
bad
It
either.
doesn't.
Right.
Yep.
You make
Totally.
your own decisions and and you
Yeah.
live your own life. But
Right,
Sarah
absolutely.
and I have been talking a lot, and we just want to get everyone on board to be
Yeah.
like maybe a meetup. But I think that consciousness
Yes.
thing
So
would
that's
be
like
Yes.
group
I'm like
of
full
them.
circle.
Yeah.
We were
And we
talking
can talk about all
that.
these things together and build, and like this is how, you know, like organizations come together to
Yeah,
support
guilds and
everyone
shit.
who's
Oh,
I need a fucking guild.
we need a
Guild.
guild.
Spiritual, or
I want a
spiritual
cape.
guilds.
I
There
would
will
like
be
a
a
cape.
capes.
Oh
We
yeah.
have meetings. We're all event planners. We
Yeah.
I know.
turns
We
into
got
a
this
4-day
handled.
weekend
Capes.
dance party.
We
yoga.
would start with yoga. Of
Yeah,
course.
of course,
yes,
For
as
our
we
guild.
learn.
have a little meditation in
Make
the middle.
everyone on the same page.
And then put
There'll
on
be
our
dancing,
capes.
and then put on our capes and dance.
Can I
Then
get-
have the meeting. Then go back to dance.
Can I have the big the gavel, but like the squeaky one that goes squeak? Hey everybody! Quarter in the court. I love that. But it squeaks.
But yeah,
Yeah.
conscious
It's just gonna be-
community
It's-
guild.
This is
Conscious
that is gonna
community
happen.
guild.
Yeah.
Because that's where we're at now.
Done.
Now we
Yes,
need to
it is where
connect.
we're at.
We're all kind of doing the island thing and figuring out on our own. But the more we connect, the more
It's
we can
all
even figure out what we're
resources.
doing.
It's all
Yeah.
resources.
Yeah.
It's huge like that.
This has been awesome. Thank
that's
you,
cool.
ladies, for coming in and talking today. Is there anything you guys want to plug? It sounds like it.
Get it, girl.
I actually don't want to plug anything in specific, but I do want to say that every Thursday, come to Yo-Yo Yoga. We're doing it every Thursday until September 7th, and it's at the Monkey
Yes.
Loft, which is the most beautiful venue in my
Amazing.
eyes
Amazing.
in Seattle with that
Yes.
rooftop, and they just expanded it, so it's even more
Giant
beautiful.
rooftop.
rooftop
Video of it,
under the
crazy.
sun. It's
So yeah, and
beautiful.
then if you go to yoyoyogaproject.com, you can find ticket information, and every ticket includes free entry to the Shameless Productions deck party afterwards.
Dope.
So if you want to come spend your Thursday nights with us, you'll see me there.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thank
Annie.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. and
What about you, Sarah Rose?
well, Daybreaker. Typically, our blueprint is Wednesday mornings. But
Right.
since it's summer, we have been experimenting with other days. We've been doing a Saturday morning. And every other month for the summer, we'll be going between a Wednesday and a Saturday. But we are
Okay.
doing our first Thursday tomorrow.
yeah, they broke the night into
We're
broke the
trying,
day
we're
into
trying
night.
dusk. We're trying
Cool.
happy hour. Reinvent
Cool.
happy
Trying
hour.
things.
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome.
But yeah, Daybreaker, and then come visit me at Grinning Yogi too. You'll be
Yeah.
accepted.
Oh,
We love you just
Yes,
as you are.
truth.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
One last thing I wanted to say was, and I think, Sarah, this might have been you who told me this. I'm not sure, but someone recently that I was chatting with told me that they went to see the Dalai Lama recently. Was this you?
No, that was not me. That'd be really fucking
Yeah,
badass.
it was
I
someone.
wish.
It was someone I think maybe at that like rooftop party that we went to,
Yeah.
and they said that his biggest message was that, in his opinion, Western women are the ones that are leading the next shift in consciousness.
Oh hey.
He's like, you guys have the power, you have the ability, you
Got
have the knowledge,
The right
and he's like,
fierceness
and he's specific.
and compassion.
Yeah. It's the
and ability
combination
to
of the
move and
feminine
groove.
energy, but we have the masculine behind us. We've moved on
Well,
from the
some of 'em.
anger, and we're busting out, and
Let's
we're
do
doing
this.
it.
We are doing it.
So congrats.
You. Love you, ladies.
See you on the
Congrats to
other
you
side.
guys.
yeah,
too.
thank you.
Thanks for hosting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Cool.